I was born with a hips 2 sizes bigger than others. Not only do I have good fortune to bear children, I can also decide the gender of the child in my womb. When the emperor was young, his foundation was ruined. In order to reproduce heirs, he married me into the palace. In the first year, I became pregnant. I asked him whether he wanted a boy or a girl. He touched my belly and smiled very gently. Boy or girl is fine. As long as it's born by you, I like it. Therefore, I did not interfere with the child's gender. Later I gave birth to a baby girl. As a result, the emperor killed me with a single sword strike. He said this was not what he wanted. In the second life, I turned the baby in my womb into a boy. He threw me into a cesspit. This still was not what he wanted. In the third life, I gave birth to one that was neither male nor female. The result was even worse than the previous 2 lives. When I opened my eyes again, I was reborn for the 4th time. Looking at the emperor's expectant face toward my belly, I couldn't help asking, what kind of child do you actually want? As long as it comes from your womb, I want it. Same as the previous 3 lives. After Xiaochen finished speaking, he lowered his head and placed a kiss on my belly. His movements were devout, not hiding his love for the child in my belly at all. No matter what, I couldn't connect this gentle Xiaochen with the tyrant who killed me in the previous lives. After pondering for a while, I couldn't help testing. Then for this pregnancy, let's not have it for now. How about having a child in 2 years? What did you say? Before the words finished, Xiaochen had already stood up with a cold face. As soon as he got angry, all the palace maids and eunuchs inside and outside knelt to the ground. Facing Xiaochen's cannibal-like gaze, I braced myself and said it again. I said I don't want this child. Nonsense. Xiaochen was furious and casually grabbed a teacup from the table and threw it at me. I had no time to dodge. A pink figure suddenly blocked in front of me. My maid Xiaozi helped me block the teacup, then knelt and pleaded for me. Your Majesty, calm your anger. Recently the little prince has been very restless in Her Highness's belly. Her Highness is annoyed by the disturbance. That's why she spoke without thinking. Hearing this, the violence on Xiaochen's face gradually faded. He bent down to comfort me. Yun Shu, I know pregnancy is hard, but no matter what, don't joke with me about the child. You clearly know how much I look forward to this child's birth. Endure a bit more. After 2 days you can give birth. Take care of your body these 2 days. Don't let anything go wrong. The women in our family are born with easy fertility. Not only can we reproduce offspring for men who have no heirs, we can also control the gender of the fetus, and even choose the exact time to give birth after full term. On the first day of my pregnancy, Xiaochen had someone calculate that giving birth 2 days later at the 3rd quarter of the Chen hour would grant the child a noble fate. Not only would the child be exceptionally intelligent, even the parents would receive blessings. It's just a pity that although the timing is good, none of the children I gave birth to had a good ending. Thinking of this, my heart couldn't help but ache, and my face turned paler. After Xiaochen left, his chief eunuch brought 2 chests of gold, silver, and treasures into my palace. He said Xiaochen pitied my hardship during pregnancy and rewarded me with some small items. Though called small items, they were rare treasures tribute from various countries, things other consorts could never even see. Since I became pregnant, Xiaochen had almost moved the entire treasury into my palace, afraid others wouldn't know how much he favored me. Before, seeing these would make me happy for a long time, but now I had no interest at all. I asked Xiaozi to inventory and store them. As she left, I heard her mutter, His Majesty looks forward so much to the little prince's birth, then why does he still kill them? Hearing this, I hurriedly stood up and grabbed her arm. What did you say? Xiaozi was frightened and knelt down. Nothing, Your Highness, I misspoke. I stared at her. How do you know Xiaochen kills my children? Could it be you were reborn too? In the second life, just like I thought, Xiaozi had also been reborn 4 times. She said after my death, Xiaochen would kill all the maids who had contact with me. After saying this, Xiaozi looked strangely at my belly. Your Highness, why would His Majesty do this? Could it be the child in your belly isn't his? How could that be? Xiaochen is impotent because he was poisoned as a child. After the poisoning, the person even spread the news, so everyone in the world knew Xiaochen couldn't make women pregnant. Perhaps because of this, after ascending the throne he never took any concubines. Any man who could approach the inner palace would have his foundation removed. When I was first killed, I also thought maybe he suspected the child wasn't his. But after several lifetimes of testing, I discovered he clearly knew. The child in my belly was his. Xiaozi was also a bit discouraged. Then that's strange. When you give birth to a princess, His Majesty doesn't like it. When you give birth to a prince, His Majesty doesn't want it either. There are only these 2 genders in total. If he's not satisfied with either, could it be that he doesn't want a person at all? Xiaozi originally said it as a joke, but after hearing it, I suddenly jumped up. Perhaps you're right. Our emperor might not even be human. Before I entered the palace, my mother had invited a palace nanny to teach me etiquette. During idle moments, that person once mentioned some things about Xiaochen's childhood. Xiaochen's mother used to be a senior palace maid serving the late emperor. After several years, Xiaochen was conceived when the emperor was drunk. After having Xiaochen, his mother rose in status because of the child, was made a consort, and received great favor. Such a fortunate person, however, died shortly after giving birth. Officially, it was said she died from postpartum hemorrhage, but that nanny told me, Xiaochen's mother was not human at all, but a civet cat. She said that right after giving birth, Xiaochen's mother revealed her true form and turned into a civet cat. And when Xiaochen was born, he was half human, half cat. When the late emperor entered and saw that scene, he was furious and killed his mother with 1 sword strike. At that time, I didn't take this story seriously, but now thinking about it, perhaps Xiaochen really is a civet cat. However, this story might also be false. Xiaozi's eyes lit up for a moment, then quickly dimmed again. If it's not true, wouldn't we just die again? Hearing this, I also felt discouraged. After dying so many times, I'm no longer afraid of death, but Xiaochen makes each death more twisted than the last. After thinking for a a long time, a person suddenly flashed in my mind. I knew who to ask to verify whether this matter was true or false. I brought Xiaozi to a remote palace courtyard. Living there was Xiao Chen's wet nurse. After his mother died, the late emperor did not assign him to any consort, but instead let this wet nurse raise him. Because he had no maternal backing, Xiao Chen lived a very hard life as a child. The emperor didn't treat him as a son, the princes didn't treat him as a brother, and the palace servants bullied him. When Xiao Chen once told me about this, he suddenly held me tightly. So no matter what kind of child you give me, I will treat them well. I will be a good father. I won't let them walk the same path as me. When he said this, he was so sincere and so eager for affection. Could it all have been a lie? I told the wet nurse everything I had heard. She burst out laughing. Who did you hear that from? How could His Majesty be a civet cat? I widened my eyes. Impossible? Absolutely impossible, she said firmly. She said that not only was she Xiao Chen's wet nurse, she had also delivered him at birth. His mother died from childbirth. She never turned into a civet cat. The reason this story spread in the palace was because Xiao Chen was often bullied, so she made up the story herself to scare others into thinking he was a demon. Then she clapped her hands. I still have drawings of His Majesty as a child. She rummaged through a box and took out several yellowed papers. The people in the drawings were still vivid. I learned painting when I was at my family home. His Majesty was so cute as a child, so I drew him every so often. Starting from adulthood, Xiaozi, and I flipped through page by page. When we reached the last page, my eyes widened. This one should be shortly after Xiao Chen was born. Xiaozi also noticed something and tugged at my sleeve. This is... She didn't finish, but I understood. The appearances of my children, she had seen them before. They looked exactly the same as Xiao Chen in the drawing. This realization made us even more confused. If he is human, and my children resemble him so much, then what exactly went wrong? For him to be so cruel, killing our children one after another? To untie the bell, you must find the one who tied it. Since I couldn't find the answer here, I decided to go find Xiao Chen again. When I arrived at Xiao Chen's palace, he was personally making a small peachwood sword for a child to play with. Seeing me, he beckoned me over. When the child is born, he can play with this. Do you think you will like it? I frowned slightly. Xiao Chen was clearly the supreme ruler, yet he liked to personally make small toys for children, rattles, peachwood swords, even miniature red-tasseled spears. Before, I only thought this meant he truly liked children. Now, I sensed something was off. Xiao Chen clearly knew the child in my womb was a girl, yet everything he made were toys boys would like. I bit my lip and tested him. Your Majesty, you actually want a boy more, don't you? Xiao Chen froze for a moment. After a long while, he spoke. Yun Shu, do you want to hear the truth? I held my breath and nodded. If your Majesty truly wants a boy, I can. Xiao Chen came over and pinched my cheek. To me, a boy or a girl is the same. The things I make are not only for the child, but also for myself. Xiao Chen said the late emperor also liked making toys, but those were all for other princes, never for him. Then he told me he didn't only make toys for boys, he had also made some for girls. He took my hand and opened a cabinet. Inside were piles of ugly cloth dolls. He said somewhat embarrassedly, my needlework isn't good, so I never showed you before. Yun Shu, just give birth with peace of mind. Even if you give me a monster, I will still love it well. I picked up one of the cloth dolls and looked at it for a long time, then nodded. As soon as I returned to my palace, Xiaozi hurriedly pulled me into the room. After confirming no one was listening, she whispered, Your Highness, run. I didn't understand for a moment. Your Highness, run away. Xiaozi somehow produced a bundle and stuffed it into my hands. I've thought it through. Instead of all three of us dying again, it's better to save you and the little princess. I've already arranged everything. Someone will receive you at the back gate. Once you leave the palace, I will pretend to be you. When His Majesty discovers me, you will definitely be able to escape the city. I looked at Xiaozi for a long time, then returned the bundle to her. Put it away. Xiaozi became anxious. Your Highness, don't hesitate. If you don't run now, it'll really be too late. I took a deep breath. It's all right now. I already know what kind of child Xiao Chen wants. Just now, when he showed me the toys, I noticed something about one of the cloth dolls. That's how I realized he doesn't want a boy, and he doesn't want a girl. I looked at Xiaozi's expectant eyes and pointed at my own belly. What he wants is something that comes out of my womb. No matter whether it's male or female, even if it were a dog, he would still want it. Xiaozi was completely confused. Your Highness, what are you talking about? If His Majesty really wants your child, then why has he killed us so many times? Seeing my certainty, Xiaozi thought I had been brainwashed again. Her tone became more urgent. Wake up. Have you forgotten how you died in your past lives? If you give birth again this time, we'll probably be dismembered alive. I patted her hand. No, Xiaozi, this time, we definitely won't die. But there are still some things I'm not certain about yet. So I need you to help me do something. After listening, although Xiaozi didn't understand my purpose, she still nodded. Your Highness, I will definitely do it well. Very soon, the day of my delivery arrived. On that day, Xiao Chen didn't attend court. He had all the imperial physicians waiting outside my room. Top quality tonics were simmering on the fire, ready to replenish my strength at any moment. He also invited 3 experienced midwives to assist the birth. Before the delivery even began, Xiao Chen sat by my bedside, tightly holding my hand, and placed a gentle kiss on my forehead. Yun Shu, don't be afraid. I will stay here with you until our child is born. The midwives, hearing his words, all praised my good fortune. Your Highness truly has good fortune. Since ancient times, childbirth is considered a bloody disaster, something men avoid as inauspicious. Yet His Majesty does not mind the taboo and personally stays here. This kind of intention is truly rare. It shows how deeply he cares for your Highness. After one midwife praised me, the others followed. Aside from certain matters where he was somewhat obsessive, most people felt Xiao Chen didn't resemble an emperor. The late emperor was lustful, so the harem was vast, and there were many princes. They fought fiercely for the throne, and those who lost were all torn apart by 5 horses. But after Xiaochen ascended the throne, he properly settled the surviving brothers. According to ancestral rules, after the late emperor died, his concubines should have been buried with him. Yet Xiaochen abolished that practice and continued to support them in the palace. However, because he himself could not father children, his harem had only me. Everyone said Xiaochen married me because I could bear him children. But on our wedding night, he had blushed and confessed to me, saying he truly liked me. After marriage, he gave me full respect and dignity. In the past, when others said I was fortunate, I would feel sweetness in my heart. But now, knowing Xiaochen's true nature, I only felt disgust. Xiaochen stayed by my bedside, not because he was worried, nor because he wasn't afraid of bad omens, but because, compared to those things, he needed to confirm that this child was born from my womb. Under Xiaochen's urging, I took the secret medicine of my family. As soon as it entered my stomach, my body reacted. Pain spread from my lower abdomen throughout my whole body. Cold sweat soaked the bedding beneath me. I was in pain, but Xiaochen seemed even more pained than I was. His face was full of worry, constantly calling my name. Don't be afraid, I'm here. Finally, with a cry, the child was born smoothly. Xiaochen took a cloth and wiped the sweat from my face, then kissed me again. Yun Shu, you've worked hard. After that, the midwives had already cleaned the child. Your Majesty, your Highness has given birth to a beautiful little princess. The moment Xiaochen took the child into his hands, I closed my eyes. Even though I had already experienced 3 lifetimes, even though I had personally watched my children be killed, at this moment, I still didn't dare to look. This is not the child I want. The familiar words rang beside my ear. With a dull sound, the crying child suddenly went silent. I opened my eyes. Inside and outside the room, everyone was kneeling on the ground. Xiaochen raised his head and looked at me with a vicious expression. What kind of fortunate woman are you? You can't even give birth to the child I want. Go die. He raised his sword and stabbed toward me, just as the blade reached my throat. I smiled. Xiaochen, are you sure you want to kill me? If you do, you'll never find the child I gave birth to. Xiaochen's hand paused. He stared at me. What do you mean? I sat up and retreated a few steps. I already know all of your plans. You are not killing our child right now. You, how could you? Xiaochen froze for a few seconds, then lowered his head to look. The child lying on the ground, in an instant, turned into a piece of rotten pork. Everyone cried out in shock. Xiaochen's face turned pale. How did this become like this? Everyone knows that the reason the women of my family are so fertile is because our ancestors once helped a wandering sorcerer. At that time, that sorcerer was on the brink of death. My ancestor brought him home and summoned a doctor for him. After he recovered, he said he was a deity who had descended to the mortal world, and asked my ancestor if there was any wish. My ancestor didn't take it seriously and only said that she hoped her descendants would be blessed with many children and good fortune. It was precisely that one sentence that turned all the women in our family into women of great fertility. But what no one knows is, besides that fertility, that sorcerer also left behind a secret manual. Inside it were not only medicines that could change the gender of a fetus, but also illusion techniques that could turn other things into a fetus. For the women of our family, giving birth has never been difficult. As early as last night, I had already given birth to my child and let Xiaozi take the baby away. After that, I stuffed this piece of pork into my body to create the illusion of childbirth. Hearing this, Xiaochen flew into a rage. Since you already know everything, then hand over the child immediately, otherwise I will kill you. I looked at him calmly. Whether I hand over the child or not, you will kill me anyway. Then why should I give the child to you? If I don't hand over the child, the one who dies is only me. But you don't want to die. Xiaochen smiled coldly. Luo Yunshu, if you wanted to die, you wouldn't have revealed the truth when I was about to kill you. You're doing this because you still want to live. As long as you tell me where the child is, I can spare your life. I don't want to die, but I also won't believe your words. I have my own way to make you send me out of the palace. Xiaochen laughed. Luo Yunshu, you are truly naive. Why would I send you away? Unless, I took out a cloth doll from beneath the blanket. Unless I have this. The moment he saw the cloth doll, Xiaochen's eyes instantly turned blood red. How did you get that? Give it back to me. He reached out to snatch it. I looked at him quietly. At this moment, I finally saw his true face. If you want it, send me out of the palace. Xiaochen stared at the doll in my hand. In the end, almost grinding his teeth, he said, send her out of the palace. Do as she says. The carriage sped through the night. I arrived at an abandoned land temple outside the city. According to the agreement, I placed the cloth doll beneath the shrine. After that, I pretended to head south, but in reality, I took another secret passage and returned to the palace. Inside the hidden chamber, Xiaozi was holding the peacefully sleeping child. When she saw me return, she finally let out a breath of relief. Your Highness, you're finally back. I took the child from her arms and couldn't help teasing her gently. Xiaozi could no longer hold back. Your Highness, I still don't understand. Why would His Majesty compromise just because of a cloth doll? That is not an ordinary cloth doll. I sighed. At this point, there's nothing left to hide. I checked carefully. Among those cloth dolls, only this one had the messiest and oldest stitching, and what was stuffed inside was not ordinary cotton, but mixed with special herbs, ashes, and fragments of human hair and nails. So this cloth doll is not a dead object. It is something alive. Xiaozi gasped. Alive? In other words, inside it is a child's soul. Do you remember I told you that I already know what kind of child Xiaochen wants? He wants the child inside this cloth doll. Xiaozi was stunned. Before, I thought he treated all the former emperor's consorts well because he was kind. But after seeing those paintings, I realized that wasn't the case. In those paintings, there was a woman. Later, I found out, before he became emperor, they had already been together, and they had a child, a son, but that child was gravely ill. Xiaochen searched everywhere for a cure, but failed. In the end, he found a sorcerer. sorcerer. That sorcerer sealed the child's soul into this cloth doll and hid the child's body. From that moment on, Xiaochen had only one goal: to bring that child back to life. Xiaozi looked at the child in my arms. So, every time he killed your child, it was to revive that one? I nodded. As long as, at a certain moment, both mother and child die at the same time, the soul transfer technique can be completed. So no matter what I give birth to, he will want it. In other words, he will kill it. Xiaozi fell silent for a long time. Then what do we do now? Hide here forever? Before I could answer, the door to the hidden chamber suddenly shook. Light poured in. Xiaochen stood at the entrance. Luo Yunshu, as expected, you are here. When I saw him, I stepped back instinctively, clutching the child tightly. How did you know I was here? Before he could answer, Xiaozi suddenly snatched the child from my arms. Your Majesty, I brought the child. I turned my head, unable to believe it. Xiaozi, are you crazy? Why are you doing this? I'm not crazy. I just don't want to die again. As long as I stay with you, I will definitely die. So I might as well expose everything. I've already told His Majesty about you hiding the child here. I also told him about our rebirth. I felt a chill run through me. You think you'll live after telling him everything? I will. As long as I drink a muting medicine afterward and never speak again in this life, nothing will happen. His Majesty has already promised me, after this is over, he will give me endless wealth and honor. I looked at her in disbelief. You think that if you become mute, you'll be fine? You still have hands and feet. You can still reveal secrets. Shut up. At a time like this, you still have the mind to worry about others? Think about your own child. As she spoke, she raised the child high above her head. Don't, Xiaochen. The time you wanted has already passed. Even if you kill her now, it won't work anymore. Time? Xiaochen let out a cold laugh. You really think I needed a specific time to kill you? That time was just the moment my son was born. I made you give birth at that time merely to commemorate him. Over this period, what I placed inside your body has already taken effect. No matter when you and this child die, my son will return. Go die. As he spoke, he loosened his hand. The child fell directly in front of me. At the same time, the sword in his hand stabbed straight toward me. Then he lifted his head and stared directly at me. Next, it's your turn. I stepped back twice. The grief on my face, in an instant, turned into a smile of success. Xiaochen, why don't you take a look at whether this child is the one you want? Even now, you still want to play tricks? Xiaochen frowned, then used a sword to lift open the swaddling cloth. The moment he saw the child's face, his eyes instantly turned blood red. Yuner, he suddenly raised his head to look at me, his eyes filled with disbelief. How did I know where he was hidden? To keep a corpse from decaying, one must either fill it with mercury, or keep it at a low temperature. The day you showed me the cloth dolls, I felt a chill behind that cabinet. So when I went to take the doll, I also found that hidden chamber. Xiaochen, in war, deception is never tiresome. You don't even understand such a simple principle. No wonder you couldn't protect your beloved, and couldn't even protect your own son. Xiaochen was completely enraged. Luo Yunshu, you vicious woman. If you didn't kill the real Yuner, you wouldn't even be able to live. Yet you actually killed him. I'll send you to your death right now. He raised his sword and slashed toward me, but before the blade could fall, a knife appeared behind him, and pierced straight through his chest. Xiaochen froze. He turned his head, and saw Xiaozi's face. In that instant, he understood everything. So, you two were working together. No wonder. Before he could finish speaking, he had already fallen to the ground. Blood spread across the floor. The cycle ends here. After Xiaochen's death, the court fell into chaos for a time, but very quickly, I used the imperial seal he left behind to stabilize the situation. With the support of the ministers, I ascended the throne. I became the first empress in this dynasty's history. As for my child, I looked down at the baby sleeping peacefully in my arms. This time, no one would take her away from me again. Inside the grand hall, all officials knelt. All hail the empress. Long live, 10,000 years.